back to One Word at a Time. Today's focus will be upon the word seen, found in John 1:18, which reads, "No one has ever seen God, the one and only Son who is himself God and is at the Father's side. He has revealed him." Have you ever heard the expression, "you have to see it to believe it"? It is typically used to refer to situations that are unique, weird, or amazing, each of which defies what is thought of as normal. Things like a dog riding a scooter, or a giraffe who steals a motorcycle, or the kid who does a backflip to get into his jeans. Okay, I could do this all day. I think you get the point. There are just some things we have to lay our eyes on or experience for ourselves before we can truly believe. Well, this is something that no longer has to plague our ability to truly believe in God. Because of the arrival of Jesus, we no longer have to feel that God is too good to be true. We no longer have to clench our fists and say, "I gotta see him to believe him." Because God has revealed himself and his great love for people by revealing himself through Jesus. Jesus is the fullness of God Almighty. He's God with skin on. He's the exact representation of the one true God. When we examine his life and ways, we actually see God himself. This is a beautiful privilege for our generation. In the tens of thousands of years before the birth of Jesus, the idea of actually seeing God was unheard of. When you read through the Old Testament, you will find many stories of people hearing from God, but you won't find examples of people getting to see God in his fullness. During my teenage and young adult years at home, my mom would start placing our Christmas presents under the tree one at a time. The wait grew increasingly excruciating as my desire to see what was on the inside of each wrapped gift grew daily. For weeks, I would look at the gifts and try to figure out what they must be like. And while I was usually fairly confident that I had figured it out, I was never completely sure until Christmas morning when I got to open each present to take a look for myself. Each year I would be right about some of the gifts and wrong about others. You see, I couldn't know fully until I had seen fully. And this is also true of God. Until we see God, we can't truly know him for all that he is. When we only know him partially, we can only trust him partially. When we know him fully, when we look him over piece by piece, examining everything about him carefully, then and only then can we start to trust him fully. Even Thomas, one of Jesus' closest friends, needed to see him after he had risen from the dead to fully believe that it had happened. And the same grace that Jesus showed Thomas, he will show to each and every one of us today. May we refuse to allow a day to go by where we don't lean in, take a closer look at who this Jesus is. Gotta see to believe? Let's just see what happens when we get to see the one true God. I'll see you tomorrow.